I have had the worst 3 days just coding stuff. And so this episode is going to be very unscripted and just getting the hell on with it because it just hasn't gone very well. But I've produced something incredible. So this started because, right, I wanted to be able to control my Mac with my voice. I wanted to be able to say open Photoshop. And I found out that the morons over at Apple had decided to disable this for certain Macs. Like, oh, I don't know, the most expensive ones you can buy. Why are you ignoring me?
The same reason that we tell you every time we don't want to do something. Security. Something to do with security.
So I can't control my Mac with Siri, so I thought, I bet I could if I could make a script on my Mac that would launch Photoshop if it received the HTTP request. Before you run away thinking, script? That's not why I come here. I come here for my jokes and my jollies. I've made it for you. You don't have to do pretty much anything. It's like copy, paste, press a button and it's done. If you want to be able to achieve some ridiculous things with either your Apple Mac or your Windows PC, I've written scripts for both. And they do things like this. Check this out. I can literally just like jump between any application on my computer. Photoshop, Final Cut Pro, my cameras, Gmail, my video ideas spreadsheet, and that is a specific spreadsheet within my Google Sheets documents. And Spotify, I could do anything. I could set up anything on this computer and launch it using this very Star Trek-y looking thing. You might be thinking, so what? I've got a Stream Deck that does that. So the Stream Deck software can't launch Reolink for some reason. I can't launch my camera system, which is really annoying because it's one of the main reasons I wanted to use Stream Deck. I can do it with this. This also looks a lot prettier than Stream Deck because it fits in with my whole Star Trek theme and I can make it look like whatever I want it to look like. If I'm not a mega nerd, you might not be a mega nerd, you might not want to use Home Assistant, I also have this. This is an app where you just give it the HTTP requests for the script, and I'll talk you through that, literally a 2-second job, and I can press buttons on here and launch things. Again, I can do this on Windows or on my Mac. If you're a creative person or you are just a professional that wants to be able to switch between tabs, switch between applications and just do so on your mobile phone, you can just hit buttons. Not only that though, this.
Alexa.
Photoshop.
Okay.
It never gets old. It never gets old because that is Amazon controlling an Apple Mac and it's not supposed to be able to do that. And if you're like me and you've been wanting to control your Mac with your voice but Apple have taken that away from you on purpose, I just reclaimed it. I can control my Mac using my voice and it doesn't have to just be Alexa either. I can do it with Apple HomeKit too.
Good.
And please believe me when I tell you, this is the easiest thing you're ever going to do in your life because I spent 48 hours of my life in pure hell. I did it for you, so please download and use this because it's huge. It's such a cool thing to do. It's so easy to put in place and it will change your life when it comes to working on your computer. I'm going to run through these instructions pretty quickly, so get ready with your pause button if you intend to follow along. But basically, all you're actually doing is putting a folder on your computer, downloading a file, putting it in the folder, opening up a command prompt, typing some text and pressing enter. Really is quite simple. So if you want to be able to simply control either your Apple Mac or your PC using your mobile phone, then that is so easy thanks to my script. All you have to do is install Python on your Mac or your PC if you don't have it already. A lot of Apple Macs, mine included, already had it, and you won't even need to do this step. You can get Python just by downloading it from their website. And if you're a Windows user, just make sure you tick add python.exe to path during installation. If you don't do this, you're going to regret it later.
I've been watching you poo.
Duly noted. Take me to maximum altitude.
Next, you just need to create a folder for all of our stuff to live in that we're about to create, and that folder needs to be in a specific location. On a Mac, you just need to put it in Macintosh HD, users, your username, and then create a folder, HomeAssistantAppLauncher, all in one word, capital H, capital A, capital A, capital L. If you're a Windows user, you just need to do exactly the same thing, but the location is C, users, your username. In there, you just put in HomeAssistantAppLauncher in exactly the same way with a capital H, capital A, capital A, capital L. No spaces. Did I say that? No spaces. Now, there's just one script you need to download from the link in my description. Link 1 will give you my script, and all you do is you place that script in that folder. At this point, Chrome is probably going to tell you I'm dangerous. You can either download it anyway, if you trust me. I mean, I do have 270,000 subscribers. I'm probably not trying to steal your information. But if you are nervous, you can just double-click it here, and you can actually read everything that's in here. There's nothing that's going to do you any harm. And if you don't understand this stuff, as I don't, you can just put it into ChatGPT and say, is this dangerous? And it'll tell you no. It'll tell you exactly what the script does. It'll tell you it does what I'm telling you it does. So download that file to your computer. And then, as I said before, just move it in from your downloads folder into your Home Assistant App Launcher folder that we created. From here, all we need to do is run the script. And the way in which you do that is to either open up Terminal if you're on a Mac, or Command Prompt if you're on a Windows PC. Because we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff in a black window. Don't panic, don't leave. I promise this is super, super easy because you're just going to be copying and pasting stuff into this black window and pressing enter. It's pretty much as simple as that. And we just need to change directories to the relevant directory to access the script. And you can do that just by pasting in instruction 1 from my description. In the Mac, it's cd:/Home Assistant App Launcher. In my PC, it's cd space c users your username Home Assistant App Launcher. It's just basically telling your computer to run the script. In my case, it's C users Paul Home Assistant App Launcher. Yours will be C users your username Home Assistant App Launcher. So paste that in there, cd space, and then the place that we want to be in. That puts us in that directory within Terminal. And now it's time to run the script. If you're on a Mac, you just need to put in Python 3 space mac_app_launcher.py. That is in my description for you to copy. And if you're on a PC, you need to type in Python space win_app_launcher.py, and that too is in my description for you to copy. Whether you're on a Mac or on a PC, hit enter and we're ready to go. And this is the really cool bit. I'm quite proud of this. I've coded this script. Really? I mean, Gemini coded this script, or Grok coded this script, or at some point ChatGPT coded this script. I didn't code the script, I'm an idiot. I have got this script coded specifically so that it'll ask you questions now, so you don't have to do anything but just answer. It'll ask you if you want to load a program, and if you do, what is the location of that program in Windows, or if you're on a Mac, you can just put in like spotify.app and it will load it. It can also load websites, so if you just put in https://netflix.com, then it will load Netflix whenever that HTTP request is sent. If you wanted to be able to load Netflix, for example, with your voice, you could use Alexa to go to Home Assistant to go to your Apple Mac or your PC.
Alexa.
Netflix.
Okay. Saucy.
So to recap, I was asked what I wanted the script to do. I wanted to launch Spotify, so I said spotify.app. On a Windows PC, you would have to stick in the file location instead, because Windows works differently. And when I pressed enter, it just generated a URL that I can stick into any computer I like that is capable of sending HTTP requests. When the HTTP request is sent, the Mac will load the program, or your PC will load the program. How good is that? Okay, so say I want to add another app or another website, or I simply want to look at the existing list. I can simply stop the script using Control and C on my keyboard, and that's the same for Windows and Macs. That stopped the script. If for some reason it hasn't gone, just go into Activity Monitor on your Mac, search for Python, and kill it there. Same thing on Windows. Instead of Activity Monitor, you just obviously use Task Manager. We then need to make sure we're in the right directory again, so you'll need to run your CD command and press enter, and then you need to run the Python script again. So on my Mac, it was Python 3 space mac_app_launcher.py. From here, I could just add another website if I wanted to, or add another app. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to type done, because that lists all of the things I've already added. So if you ever needed to see this list so you could find an address, that's how you would do it. The script is now running, and if I wanted to stop the script, it's just Control-C again. The script needs to be running for any of this stuff to work though, just bear that in mind. You actually now have a HTTP server running on your computer, you massive nerd. So you could now take any of those HTTP addresses from the command prompt window and start sticking them into applications such as this one. This one's just called HTTP Shortcuts. I just got it off the Google Play Store. And all you do is you just add a shortcut. I've got one called Reolink here, which is my cameras. And if I edit that, you can see The basic requests has method get, which you actually saw in the command prompt. Well, you need to change that. And the HTTP address is just what I typed in off reading it off the command prompt window. From there, I saved that, I gave it an icon, and boom, I can press the real link button. And it loads my cameras up on my computer. How good is that? There's just one problem. This thing won't load with Windows or your Mac when you boot it up. So we need to do one more thing in each to get them so that they'll automatically load this file every time you start your system up. Windows users, skip to this timestamp here. If you're a Mac user, skip to this timestamp here. And yeah, you can follow along. Or just, watch the whole thing in solidarity. What? Mac users, first thing you need to do, are the Windows people gone? Yeah, they suck, don't they? No, they don't. I'm going to tell them the same thing about you. So, Mac users, if you press Control-C on your keyboard, it will end the script, which is important. You need to do that. And then, you just need to copy the contents of this file here that I've linked to in the description. Gist.github. This thing, right, is the wrapper. This is going to wrap around the script so that we have something to start with the operating system. So if you just copy that to text to your clipboard, make sure you've got all 5 lines, copy that to your clipboard, and then go back to your command line window, your terminal, and just paste that in and press enter. It will create the wrapper.
Wipe your shoes on the mat when you come in the house. Someone just clean that floor. Woohoo! Say what?
I'm not going to press enter because I've already done that previously and I don't know what it will do. But you will, so you press enter on that. I'm going to get rid of it. Once you've pressed enter, I don't think anything happens, or at least nothing visible obviously happens. It just creates that wrapper for you in the background. And the next thing you need to do is to paste this in. chmod space plus x space tilde / HomeAssistantAppLauncher / start _ launcher.sh. That is in the description for my video too. And you just paste that in and press enter on your keyboard. That gives the required permissions to the wrapper so that it can run. You then need to open Automator. So if you go into your Launchpad and type in Automator and then open that up, choose Application, search for Run Shell Script in here, and then drag that into your little workspace. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an automation that when the Mac boots up, automatically start our wrapper which contains the script. Change this drop down to bin bash and change this drop down to as arguments. Clear this out, there needs to be nothing in there. And I'm going to replace this empty window with the contents from this file, which is the next link in my description. Visit this address, it's another gist.github, and copy this information to your clipboard. All of it, make sure you scrolled all the way across, that whole thing's highlighted. Control-C to copy that to your keyboard, and then paste. So if you then go to File and then Save, it's going to ask you what you want to save it as and where you want to save it. I'd recommend saving it in the same place as all our other stuff, so back in your Macintosh hard drive, users, your username, HomeAssistantAppLauncher. Just stick it in here. You can call it whatever you want. I've called mine Paul's Automator Script, and then hit save. And all we're going to do is add that to our startup items. So if you go to the settings window, and in settings type in login, items and extensions, and in here just add it in using the little plus button here. Navigate to the right place, and then just launch it. Just hit it in there, hit open, and from then on, every time your machine boots up, it's going to automatically load that wrapper which loads the script. Awesome, you are done. You probably don't need to watch this next bit because obviously the Windows users are going to come and have a look now. So you can just skip to this timestamp here where I'm going to teach you how to add this thing to Home Assistant and get Home Assistant to send the HTTP request. So, scarper onto that bit. Don't watch this bit for Windows people. I think those Mac knobheads have gone now. I think we're fine. It's just us cool Windows guys now. So, Windows people, what you need to do is, if the script is still running, you need to do Control-C on your keyboard to exit the script. Once it's closed, you need to make sure you're still in the right directory, which is cd space c : /users / your username / HomeAssistantAppLauncher, like we did before, and then put in the same Python code we did before, which is Python space win _ app _ launcher.py. Press enter on your keyboard, At this time, instead of filling in like an app name or whatever, you just need to type auto-run and press enter. This is telling the script to create a VBS file for us, and that VBS file will automatically load our script when Windows boots, as long as there is a shortcut to that VBS file. So we're going to create one. If you go into the folder that you created at the very beginning, you'll find the VBS file that it's created. If you right-click on that, go to Show More Options and create a shortcut. This puts the shortcut in the same folder, and all we need to do is move it to the Startup folder. You can do this by pressing the Start button, searching for Run, and in the Run box, type in shell:startup all in one word, and press Enter, and you can now drag your shortcut into the Startup folder. The next time you reboot, the script will start automatically. You now have a script that will run every time your machine boots up that starts a HTTP server, which listens to requests coming from across your network to launch programs on your computer. And if all you wanted to do was use this thing, this very, very cool free piece of software which will launch stuff by clicking buttons, you're done. You can just add your HTTP stuff to this and press the buttons and it happens. If, however, you want to do something more clever, like use Home Assistant to trigger HTTP requests to your computer, you'll need to set Home Assistant up if you don't have it already. There is a tutorial here which will walk you through how to set Home Assistant up on any old laptop or a Raspberry Pi, whatever it is you want to use that you've got kicking around. Home Assistant adds the functionality of being able to send HTTP requests to your computer from across your network, whilst also simultaneously listening to things like Amazon Alexa or Google Home or Apple HomeKit. And that's how I'm able to use my voice. I use my voice to trigger the Amazon Echo, to trigger Home Assistant, to trigger this script to do whatever I want it to do. I had achieved all this previously, at least to a very small degree, in a previous video. I showed you me controlling my Mac to open certain things up using my SwitchBot Hub 3, and the SwitchBot Hub 3 is glorious. If you're looking for something on your desk that can control basically anything, I can get it to send HTTP requests because I've connected it to Home Assistant. Home Assistant listens to the SwitchBot Hub 3 via the Matter protocol and reacts accordingly, and I can set it to do basically anything I like. But the SwitchBot Hub 3 also has built-in functionality too, such as infrared blasting. I can actually use it as a dial to control my TV's volume, and that takes no skill and no programming whatsoever. I can also use it to control my NVIDIA Shield. I can browse through things like Netflix and do play and pause, but more importantly for me personally, I can control my aircon. My aircon has an infrared remote, and I was able to program that thing up using the SwitchBot Hub 3 so that the SwitchBot Hub 3 can act as an aircon dial for me. If you're looking for something that you can put on your desk that can control pretty much anything in the smart home world, but also control things like your Apple Mac or your PC, the SwitchBot Hub 3 is easily the best smart home hub on the market for doing that sort of thing because it has those physical controls on it. This video is here because SwitchBot sponsored it. They said, go mad, do whatever you want and we'll sponsor you. If you want to get SwitchBot stuff, there are links in the description to not only that, but also some really cool things from SwitchBot that I've featured recently that I'm actually using in day-to-day life. If you're interested in really, really cool smart home gear, SwitchBot are easily one of my favorite suppliers because they're so innovative. They do stuff that nobody else does, and they're well worth checking out. Go have a look in the description for their stuff. I'm going to show you how to set up Home Assistant. So all you need to do first of all is you need to make sure you've got File Editor in your version of Home Assistant. Yours probably doesn't look this cool. That's because I've done a lot of things to my Home Assistant to make mine look cool. We'll talk about that in another episode. If you go into Settings and then Add-ons, you'll find you've got File Editor here, and all you need to do is enable it if it's not already enabled. Make sure it's set to start on boot and set to show in the sidebar so that it actually appears here, and then you can go into your File Editor, and then we can start faffing around with bespoke configuration.yaml files.
Bespoke configuration.yaml files!
If you've got anything in here already, you just add it to the bottom of this list. I usually just leave a paragraph between them just to keep things looking neat. And all you need to do is add in what we had from our terminal window. So if you go back to your Launchpad and start up terminal again, you need to enter your home directory again. So we're going back into our Home Assistant App Launcher directory so that we can start the script, Python 3 space mac_app_launcher.py. And then in here, so we don't want to add anything new at the moment, so we're just going to type done, because that will give us our list. So anytime you type done in here, it will give you a list of URLs, and this just happens to be the thing that we need to add to Home Assistant's file editor. So if you hit Control-C on that information there, and then paste it to the bottom of here, you've now got a different URL for each individual thing, and you want to save that. Go to settings, make sure you've got a backup of Home Assistant. If you screw anything up and it dies, it's not my fault. And just restart Home Assistant. I'm very certain it's not going to die. Do a full restart. Restart. And once Home Assistant is restarted, we should be able to create an automation using those URLs.
A few minutes later.
So Home Assistant's rebooted. Just going to check in file editor, it's all still there, which it is. And we're gonna just basically go to settings, automations and scenes, create an automation, create a new automation from scratch. Your trigger can be whatever you want it to be, whether that's pressing a button on a SwitchBot Hub 3 or whether it's using your voice, doesn't really matter. We're gonna add an action, perform action. We want it to perform an action, and that action is, in my case, I'm gonna search for Reolink. Launch Reolink Mac is that from the file editor that calls that URL. So let's do Spotify first. If I hit this run action button, yes! Yeah! So what I'm going to do, right, you could create an automation that did that now, so you could use whatever trigger you wanted to do it. I want to use my voice though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to not save that, I'm going to cancel out. I'm actually going to create a script instead. If I create a script in Home Assistant, create new script, add action, and we do the same thing again, perform action, and once again just choose Reolink as an example. I wanted to launch Reolink on my Mac and hit save script. I'm going to call that cameras, save, come back out of here. I've got my cameras script here. If I just hit this button here and go to settings and go to voice assistants and then expose it, it'll expose it to Amazon Alexa by default, and if you have the Amazon Alexa skill enabled, it will automatically appear as a new scene that you can call with your voice. Alexa, turn on cameras. Oh, it worked! That's it, it's done! So you can now use your voice to launch anything on your Apple Mac, any app you like. You just say it and it launches, and it doesn't launch new ones either. So if you've already got a window open, then it will just bring that window to the front. It doesn't launch a new version of that app, it just brings that app to the front of the screen. So if you're trying to work through your files and you're busy going from thing to thing and you just want to bring up a particular thing, you just say launch that thing and it will come up. It's that simple. And of course, because Amazon has routines, you could have a routine using whatever phrase you wanted. That's it, job done. Some considerations for you, and I'm going to read them from a phone in my super professional manner because I have totally run out of time. This whole thing is just being done on the fly. Yeah, yes, that joke is back and it's still funny. So, first things first, I want to thank Stu from Stu's Reviews. He helped me test this on his Mac and it works. Check out Stu in the description too because, again, really cool guy. His YouTube channel is amazing. Second of all, you will want a static IP address for your Mac or your PC, whatever it is you're using. You can do this normally in your router's configuration. Just go into your router's settings and you should be able to set a static IP address for your machine. You're going to want to do that because if the IP address changes, because you turn it off and turn it on again and it gets a new IP address, all of this breaks. So make sure you've got a static IP for your machine. Second of all, the Windows version of this script at time of filming, I haven't quite got working as well as the version for the Mac. Whilst on the Mac, I can switch between tabs, and if a tab is already open, it just switches to that tab. The Windows version, if a tab is already open for google.com and you try and launch google.com, it just launches a new tab for google.com instead of switching to it. I'm trying to fix that. I've been trying to fix that now for about 4 hours. If I get it working, I'll update the script, and all you'll have to do is re-download it and execute all this stuff again. It really is dead easy. You can just overwrite the existing Pi file and it will just pick it up and work it. If I've managed to get that working, here is Paul from the future. Paul from the future, did I get it working before this video got released?
No. It's Saturday morning and I'm still finishing the video thanks to you, you prick.
There you have it. whatever he just said. You could do way more than this. You could very easily take the script that I've made, because I'm not a coder, I can't write script. If you take that script and give it to ChatGPT or Gemini, or in fact, I found Grok was the best for doing coding. I'm not a big Grok fan, but it's the best for coding, and just tell it what you want it to do. Just say, this is a script I got from Paul Hibbert, this is what it currently does, this is what I would like it to do, and it will rewrite the script for you. You just then paste it into that Python file over the top of what's already in there, and then the next time you reboot your computer, it will use that script instead. Anytime you want to go back to the script I was using, if that didn't work, you just go back into the Python file and overwrite it with the original script that I gave you. It's as simple as that. If you've got ideas as to what we could do with this thing, please let me know in the comments and I'll get in touch and we'll figure it out together to update the script to make this thing even better. Just imagine you can use your voice to start a Zoom call, or use Home Assistant to shut your Mac down at night, or use Home Assistant to automatically start every single morning your timesheet at 9 AM. You could do a billion different things if we can just send HTTP requests across the network to the Mac and tell the Mac in return, start a script and do something. Let me know in the comments what you think we could do. That's it. I've tried to film this like 10 times now and I'm really struggling. One of my followers passed away, and I guess that happens all the time and I don't even know that it happens, but on this occasion, his wife got in touch and said she wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all of the memories that she has of sitting on the sofa with him. Oh, God. Watching me. So this video is dedicated to Matteo and his wife. Now the episode's going to go really jarringly back into the ending because I'm on such a short time scale. I'm just putting this together in the most ridiculous way possible. So apologies, this now cuts back to super happy, stupid Paul. Thinking of you very much so. Thanks again to SwitchBot for sponsoring today's video, but more importantly, these guys. These are my patrons from Patreon, and they have kept the channel alive now for something like 7 years. I would have given up a long time ago if it wasn't for them. I thank one every week, and this week I'm going to thank Gaz Jones because I haven't thanked him in a while. Thank you, you dirty Mancunian bearded rapscallion. Good friend of mine. So thanks again, Gaz. Thanks to my patrons. You can come and support me at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer at PayPal, and either way, I'll genuinely love you forever. These are my Instagrams and my TikToks and my Facebooks and my Threads and my X's. Come and hang out there. I can be your best friend. See you next time.